Welcome back to PPMA TV with Mark and Mimaj. We are here with Rotech, and Richard, how are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
You are no stranger to this show, are you, sir?
No, I've been doing this show for more years than I probably care to remember. But it's great to be back, and of course I think we all missed it last year, and I think especially coming back and finding so many people have come along. In years we'll go back and remember the show when there was no diesel or petrol, but everybody's made it here. And I think a lot of people come by train, which is a great thing about the NEC. Yeah. You know, there's a plan B. If you want to, you come by train, because the aisles have been really busy, you know, for both yesterday and today. And it's really good to be back here at the show.
I was going to say, it just shows pure testament to the PPMA that this is such a big show that everybody wants to be at. And this is where the connections really happen, that they have made the effort during all these crises, during all these times that we've had over the last couple of years, and everybody needed it back for 2021. And that's why we're here, people like you.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, obviously, having been doing the show for many years, catching up with a lot of friends who are all of the same mind, that we know this is an important part of our business. Yeah. I think we've been fortunate in that through COVID, we've probably all been fortunate to survive what's been going on, the key sectors that we're working with. But I think we know that we've been sort of trading on relationships, and there's a certain amount you can do on Zoom. Yeah. But, you know, there's times where you really want to get back face to face with people and discussing, you know, products and applications directly.
You're so right, but I think one of the nice things is, like, as you just mentioned, PPMA, it just brings, it's almost like a family now, because people just know each other, and this is the chance to meet them. And like you say, Zoom and phone calls are great if we have to, but actually that face-to-face, and, you know, it's good to see people again. And being able to shake hands, sir. Do you remember that? I mean, it was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, nobody's going to look back on COVID and say, oh, do you remember that fantastic Zoom call we had? Look, I've got a screenshot of it. You know, everybody remembers the things that they did when they were with other people, and that applies just as much in business as it does in life in general. So, yeah, it's great to be back.
Joking apart, though, we all did take a screenshot, didn't we? A lot of the time we did get a screenshot. Let's talk about what you've got new on the stand this year, because there's some incredible equipment that you've got with you.
Yeah, well, thanks very much. One of the things we brought along for the show this year is sort of following on from our successes with high-resolution inkjet printing. Yeah. You've seen me in front of a camera demonstrating the very small, or the smaller format printers, which are as small as that and can just make a print such as that. But then, of course, that's fairly limited in that it's doing things like a use-by date. It might be doing lot and expiry on a pharmaceutical product, and generally on the primary pack. What we brought along for the show this year is we brought along a printer that does a far larger print area. So does the robot give this to me when I tug at him? I'm not sure. He's got quite a grip on him.
I was going to say, it depends how you treat him, I think.
I think so. But this is a large area printer which uses a slightly different technology. Yeah. This is HBP based for TIG, whereas here we have a Seiko based technology, which gives us a much wider, larger array. So we've got two printers, one which runs either 108mm tool, or in this instance 72mm tool, and that's allowing us to do printing directly onto an outer case. So this can now be replacing a label, and it can be replacing the need to apply the label, and of course the cost of printing the label.
I was going to say, you're cutting out that whole label element that's getting added to products.
Yeah, that's right. And the other advantage is that the label often has to carry a barcode. That's important. The resolution of the printer and the darkness of the printer is such that you get a perfectly scannable barcode with each print, and that, you know, we verified with the, you know, sort of gold standard Axicon verifier, which says that is to standard. So the main concern for the customer is, if I print direct onto my outer case rather than applying a label, is it going to scan when it gets to the, you know, to the distribution point?
You're so right, because obviously, you remember when we started having these scan codes and everyone was trying to, you're moving backwards and forwards with your device to try and get it to work. So obviously when it's in a print form, it's got to be that accurate in the world that we live in.
No, that's right. And unfortunately, we have the verification process, which means that when a customer says to us, well, that's all well and good, can you prove it? We can, and we can also supply that equipment to them so that they know that as they're running these machines, they're continuing to produce to the required standard.
I love it. And one of the things that's really struck me this year at PPMA is how compact everything seems to be. it seems to be that in the last sort of 2 years or so, everything is doing a bigger job but a smaller product.
Yeah, I think that's probably very true. I mean, we're in an industry where we embrace technology and we embrace modernisation, and of course we rely heavily on some of our suppliers for that. But I think you're absolutely right. We're able to do things with control systems that we weren't able to do before. Some of our feeders employ PLCs. We've now got PLCs that have got nice little HMIs built into the front of them. So that's one unit, which is an all-in-one. So yeah, no, I think that's very, very much a trend.
Yeah. And what is, with stuff like this, how fast is this technology moving? For example, like I say, this is completely different to what we saw 2 years ago. It feels like this is a massive advancement. Is the next year going to be bigger and bigger? You know, what are you seeing for the future?
I think there's a fairly constant development. And again, we've got the advantage that we're relying on the larger companies who are developing these technologies, people like HP, like Funai, like Seiko, who are developing the core technologies, which then we can go on and turn into the systems that our customers want in our sectors. So yeah, I think you're right. Progress is moving at a pace. Yeah.
And do you find that when you've got something like this, how easy is it to adapt to a client's needs?
Yeah, well, that's the other advantage of sort of not starting from ground zero, but starting with the building blocks. So you've got things like a PLC, you've got an HMI, you've got a servo motor, you've got whatever you need. And then you can put those together to produce the solution that the customer wants. And I think one of the things we found through COVID is that labour has been an issue with manufacturers, because they were being told that they've got to space all of their production lines out, or of course people have been having to isolate, and they've been looking at, well, what could automation do for me? But of course everybody's application is different, all components are different, so you're having to work with what the customer brings to you, and then you're going to your toolbox or your selection of building blocks of how could we put a system together to meet your needs.
I love it. I cannot wait to see where you go next year, though. It always seems to be evolving. It's fantastic. So good to see you here live as well, actually talking to people.
Absolutely. Well, next year's our 25th anniversary. So at this spot next year, we will be doing something even bigger and better.
Looking forward to 2022 already, sir.
We really are. Yeah,
Fantastic.
we really are.
I will see you here.
You certainly will.
Take care. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.